This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Golts YouTube show, we sit down with musician/songwriter Alexa Goldie. In today's Walk the Line episode, Alexa gives us a live performance of her single, Bad Boy. Let's check out the episode. We are in the Heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I'm very excited for my guest. She has been killing it this year, absolutely killing it, doing the whole festivals, north of Norway, Blue Fest. You even did your Whiskey Jam debut this year. We got the one and only Alexa Goldie in the building.
Hello, hello.
Well, wow, man. What a year you've had.
It's been an awesome year. 2024 is probably my favorite so far.
Oh, so I never let these people know that we did not have a conversation earlier this year when you kind of put all this out in the ether.
Yeah.
All the things you're going to be doing, and it all came to fruition, man.
Did I know it then?
You knew about the festivals.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I knew then or not.
Honestly, shout out to you, girl, because it's been fun to watch you work.
Thank you.
Now, this is at the end of the year. We had that interview probably like in the top of the summertime.
Yep.
So I'm curious to know, what has been the favorite festival so far in 2024 you performed in?
Okay. It's probably a tie, to be honest. Oh, gosh. There's like three that come to mind. I'm going to mention them all really quickly. Ottawa Blues Fest is a festival in Ottawa that I went to for many, many years, and I finally got asked to play it, and I was playing one of the biggest stages there, opening for Josh Ross. That was amazing. So many people from my hometown and people I had met singing the lyrics to my songs. Very cool experience. And then playing Boots and Hearts, which is Canada's biggest country music festival. Wow. Also been to that one many times. So that was really cool to play that one. Big crowd again. And then Orno Fair opening up for Jade Eagleson. Sold out crowd. Awesome night.
I was so nervous. I have it written on my little cheat sheet right here. How do you say that?
Which one?
Orno?
Orno.
I was so nervous about saying that because I did not want to butcher that. Because, everything over there in the upper north, in the north, they all have a different way of saying things.
Yes.
So shout out to you coming from originally Kingston, Ontario.
Yes.
So I love having this conversation with you because we kind of had one earlier this year. So let's get right into it. Talk to me about our friends in the north, where you grew up, okay, and what brought you to first LA and then Nashville.
All right. So growing up in Kingston, there were so many music opportunities, and there was this thing called Renaissance music. And so you could audition to be a singer in a music band. And I ended up getting the lead part in 5 bands. So I was a rock singer, even though I didn't want to do rock. I was wanting to do any opportunity possible. And I did that for a few years, and we performed in pubs and bars when I was like 10 years old. So that was fun. And all of a sudden I had been scouted by someone, and they wanted to take me to Los Angeles and record and write music. And so at 13 or 12, I can't remember, I went down. I think I was 12 turning 13.
That's so wild. That is so young.
I know. I thought I was old then, but yeah, I was young. And spent a few years in Los Angeles. My dad would go down with me, and my mom and brother would stay home, and fell in love with the writing process there and the recording process. And then did a trip down to Nashville. I want to say I was probably 14 or 15. Fell in love with it here, and then realized that I wanted to do country music, and moved here a few years later. Yeah.
Well, I think it's so amazing that you had the it factor at such a young age, because you think about folks that get called up to Los Angeles at 12 years old. I mean, some of those folks that are out here in the world today, like Raven and all these folks that just started so young but have so much talent. What was the first time you ever showed your talent?
Okay, the first thing I can remember is my parents would always have friends over to the house, and I would be like, I want to sing for you. And I'd sing them before he cheats, and they would all laugh because I thought it was funny that this little girl was singing before he cheats. And then I would go up to my room and cry, thinking that they were making fun of me, but they just thought it was cute. That was the first time I ever performed in front of people. But I think when I was 5 or 6, I was called up to a little city near Toronto, and I was asked to compete in a competition for the very first time. It was my first time ever performing. And I came third, and then I was like hooked.
Really? So
Yeah.
you caught the bug then?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm curious to know this because since we are here in Nashville, Tennessee, I've been to Canada one time.
Okay.
That was when we visited the Great Falls.
Okay.
So
Niagara. Yeah.
And outside of there, I went to the first. What is the? It's the sixth place. Sixth God. Drake goes there. Drake lives there. Toronto. I know that. Wow, that's not good. That I did not know that. No offense to anyone out there. But anyways, what are some things that everyone assumes about Canadians that are not true?
Oh, is not true.
It's not true. Because everyone says they're so nice.
I mean, not all of us,
Not
but
all, yeah.
most of us. Okay, when I was growing up, we had pen pals in school, and they asked us to write to Americans. And the number one thing that everyone always got was asking us if we rode our polar bears to school, or if we had to watch out for penguins, or if we lived in igloos. So I think that's probably it. Another thing is the way we say about. I think some people say a boot. But yeah, anyway, Taylor Swift's dancer just did a big thing where he was like, a boot? And I'm like, I don't say a boot personally, but.
What about growing up and some of the, some of your heroes from your country?
Yep.
I was about to say state. See, I am doing such a terrible job right now, but some of your favorite, country leaders, not only in Canada, but just you name it, who have been some of the people you looked at growing up?
If we're talking Canadian, it's Shania Twain from growing up when I was young. But country music that I listened to all the way growing up, it was anything from Alan Jackson. My absolute favorite from when I was a very, very little girl was Deanna Carter. Then it changed, and it was Miranda Lambert. Now more so Kelsey Ballerini, Carly Pearce.
What about outside of country?
Ooh.
Because you had to be in the same era as, like, what was that, Cheetah Girls and... No?
Yes, but we only listened to country, which is weird. My dad wasn't the biggest fan of country, but my mom really loved it, and she kind of was, like, always putting it on, and then he put his classic rock on, so I feel like it was only classic rock and country happening in our house. But when I started music, I was, like, a rock/pop singer. But I'm just struggling to think. Christina...
Aguilera.
No, Perry.
Ooh,
Christina
my bad.
Perry. No. She's good too, though. Oh, Adele.
Adele.
I just saw Adele in Vegas.
How was that?
Mind-blowingly
Did
good.
she make you cry? I hear she makes a lot of people cry.
She made my brother cry, which is funny.
Ooh.
So he's a few years younger than me. He's 21, but he's like almost 6'5", and he was sitting there sobbing like a little baby. So
Kind of going into that conversation about pop music and country, because right now there's that nice little, starting to bleed into it. Pop is going into country, and country's starting to touch a little bit of pop. But, what are some differences between a pop singer versus a country singer, in your opinion?
When you're recording, the thing that I experienced was a lot more harmonies and like building of a song for pop. I feel like country can be more stripped back, and the music especially is more song storyteller in country than it is in pop, I think. Pop just repeats a lot of the same things.
Talking about just growing up and going to these festivals that you were able to perform in this year, because I saw some of the pictures. Dude, you were rocking out some serious crowds.
Yeah.
What was that like to, did you have a moment before you got on the stage where you're like, almost broke down and crying because how much it must have meant to you to be performing in those stages like North of Norway and Blues Fest?
Well, it's interesting because when you're backstage prior, you have no idea how big or small the crowd is. So for Blues Fest example, I had gone out just to I asked someone to put my mic out, and I looked out to the crowd, and I could only see like 15 people. So I was like, oh no, we're going to be playing for about 15 people. And then I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, but still crazy big opportunity. And then by the time 15 minutes later that it was our showtime and we got out there, it was packed and like a massive crowd. So it was more of a pinch me moment, and I got pretty emotional once I was on stage.
100%.
And I have this one song called Not My Own that I wrote for my parents, and just seeing them out in the crowd, and they were pretty emotional seeing me singing all my songs and people singing along and stuff. So it's more so when I'm on stage. I think that happened at all my shows this year, that I had no idea how many people or who was out there. And a lot of people and family and friends surprised me out in the crowd. So it's always fun. You know, I would kind of forget my words for a second.
Well, you know, I bet your family feels so incredibly proud, because how challenging that is to really, you know, work your way up in music. I think that's something that you must have realized at a young age, how hard it is to work your way from watching some of your favorite acts play to now opening in front of those favorite acts. So, you know, go through kind of the progression. You know, what were some of the things that you learned, you know, starting back maybe in LA or first time moving to Nashville, that you're starting to pick up your ranks and starting to realize like, hey, I can really do this?
Yeah, the first time, so when I was young and I was signed to my independent record label and had managers and all these things, I kind of had everything given to me, and not given to me, like I still had to work hard, but people were there to help and open doors and things. And I learned that after leaving that independent record label that you have to hustle and you have to work super hard yourself. That was like a big thing for me. I sat around for a few years being like, why aren't people asking me to play shows? And why aren't people asking me to write with them? And then I realized, you kind of got to work for those things when you don't have a team behind you. So now that I'm independent, I've learned you really got to hustle every single day.
What's some of the most important things that an independent artist could do today to differentiate them from the masses of musicians?
I would say it probably has to do with the music, mostly.
100%.
I mean, it seems like a silly answer, but not just writing what you think is going to make it on the radio, writing truly what's happening in your own life and things that are happening to you, because the fans and the people listening to your music will see that and hear that.
It's so interesting to me that musicians make music that speaks so loudly to the everyday working folks like yourselves, but you guys, y'all's job is just to make music. So it's not the same life, but you guys are able to, you know, make it so, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just blend it in so perfectly. So, you know, how do you find time to live your life, but also make music that resonates with a lot of people?
I honestly just drive, and all my passion and excitement for music comes from things that happen to me in my life. So I just go about my life, and then I'll be driving and I'll see a couple fighting in the car beside me, and I'll be like, I remember that happened to me once, and I jot it down on my phone. When I'm not driving, of course. I don't know. I think it's weird. I think that everyone in life goes through things like breakups and goes through things with troubles in life and bullying and things like that. So we write about it, but I think most people can connect to it because they've been through the same thing. How
many miles did you put on the road this year?
Kilometers.
Not bad.
I don't know. Usually I would actually put on a lot more than I did this year, because usually I'm traveling back and forth to Nashville. But because I was touring in Canada and we were just going to little towns in Ontario, not that far from one another, probably a lot less this year than usual, to be honest.
You have such a great fan base over there in Canada.
Yeah.
So what's it like to meet those fans when you were doing these festivals and doing the whole tour run over there in Canada?
The cool thing was that I feel like I gained so many new followers and friends and fans this year. I was really worried that after my shows that I would say, hey, come meet me at the merch tent, and then no one would come. But there was always people there, which was so exciting. And anyone from little girls to really older couples. So it's been amazing to hear how my song connects with people, and having people to say that they're going to follow me and follow along the journey, and they have. And so it's been really cool, and I can't wait to see them. Any shows that I'm posting about doing back at home or even here in Nashville, they're always following along.
Well, you know, we are going to talk a little bit about Nashville, but real quick, you know, I got to take a quick break to thank the sponsors of this video. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Cheat Time. We're going to talk about Bad Boy and so much more that you're doing here in Nashville. All right. We'll be right back after this. This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLDS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. So bringing it back to Nashville, I'm very curious what Nashville means to you, because you had to do so much going back and forth, traveling. So as a musician, How does Nashville make you feel?
Feels like a second home, to be honest. The friends that I've made here, you know what, going through high school, I didn't have many friends because I just didn't connect with them, but I feel like I found my people here. So I'm always excited to go home because my family and some friends are there. But when I come here, it still feels like a second home. People are I feel like Southern here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Southern.
Like they're very sweet. Southern hospitality, is that what it's called?
You got it.
So yeah, no, it just feels like a second home. And I also know that my creative juices are going to go crazy when I come here. And so I'm always excited to come back.
Who are some of your favorite people to work with here in town?
Ooh, for sure. First thing that comes to mind is Jen Bostic. I've been working with her for 10 or 11 years now. She is just one of the best people in this town for sure. I write most of my songs with Nicole Croteau and Andrew Hall. Those are two of my favorites.
Fan of the show and was a part of the show. Shout out to Nicole.
I love her. I was just with her the other day. We just wrote a song, another one that I think I'm going to put out.
Real quick, can we harp about Nicole real quick?
Let's do it.
Because I'm so curious. How does her brain work? She comes up with some amazing stuff.
Melodies and lyrics. Sometimes it's hard to find a songwriter in this town that is good at both, and she is so good at both. It's wild.
It's amazing, her range. So shout out to you, Nicole, because your range is absolutely insane, because she'll work with you, Taylor, you name the artist, she's worked with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome that you're able to connect with her, because I hear it in your music how much amazing stuff that I'm sure that she's also had a hand in too.
And she's so sweet. You reach out to so many people after you see them at writers' rounds or shows and they never respond to you. And she read mine and had no idea who I was, and I had no followers at the time. And she's like, let's do it. So she's so sweet. I love her.
She's spicy.
Yeah.
She can get really spicy. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Entertaining.
She is. I love it. Shout out to Nicole. But speaking of which, though, your writing style and you putting together your stories. So, like, top of this year, you released Bad Boy.
Yes, one of my favorites.
Talk to me about Bad Boy.
I only write about real situations happening in my life. I shouldn't really say that. I wrote Set in Stone, and it's about getting engaged. It was more of like I hoped it happened, it didn't type thing. But Bad Boy it's just a song about, my mom always told me growing up that when a boy breaks your heart, if they don't want to be around you, they won't type thing. And I was dating this guy, and he just wasn't putting the effort in, and he ended up breaking up with me, coming back, and I was like, no way, I'm not taking you back. And that's what Bad Boy's about.
You remember when we were growing up, and they always said if a girl, or I guess from the guy's standpoint, if the girl's mean to you, they typically like you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened now today, because it seems like the guys are a lot meaner to the women, because the women are making a lot of songs about those guys.
See, I think that it's more of in the flirting phase, they're mean to you, then they like you, or they're not paying attention to you. But if you're in a long relationship and they're mean to you, that's just a red flag. Gotta run.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say are, when you're putting together your music and you're putting together, maybe a breakup song or a love song, what are some topics that you like to touch on with those type of songs?
I love breakup songs. I love a good sad song. I love listening to, you would think I'm such a sad person if you listen to my podcast.
And you're the complete opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love a good sad song, and I love writing them. And I feel like people connect to them because we've all been to that point where we've gone through a breakup or gone through a tough time. So I love a good sad song. I struggle a little bit more to write happy, upbeat songs. Just a little bit, but people like Nicole really helped me bring that out, because I am happy and I have a good relationship and things like that. So I think it's just about being true and honest.
What are some, real quick, just random question here, but what are some red flags when a guy who you're talking to at the time, what are some red flags that they could do to where you'll just stop talking?
This is funny. I've been dating the same guy for 7 years, so I feel like I'm not really in the dating scene.
100%. I get you. 4 years in for mine, so yeah.
But, okay, so one of my girlfriends, she was dating a guy, and they have been dating for a long time. I want to say a year or two, and he just randomly took a job in another province, which is like another state here in the U.S., and didn't tell her until he was almost moving. I was like, that's a major red flag. They broke up quickly after that. I feel like a guy who's always on his phone and not paying attention to you, not taking that quality time, is probably another red flag. And then also if they are rude to their mom. My mom always taught me that, and I will see that in all of my ex-boyfriends that weren't nice to their mom. It's how they're going to treat you in the future.
Do you have to get intel from your friends to write a good song?
It's not like I reach out to them asking for the intel, but they'll call me and be complaining about it. And yeah, for sure.
And then that kind of helps the writing process.
For sure.
Okay, so then, we talked about Bad Boy, but now one of the coolest songs that I heard this year that you made was Cheat Time.
Oh, thanks.
When I first read the title, I immediately, because the term cheat, right? I'm always going to think
we did it.
It's so well played because I saw it and I was like, okay, it's about to be a cheating song.
Yeah.
No, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
It's cheating time, trying to keep the time alive, keep it in the same atmosphere. So talk to me about Cheating Time.
Okay.
Cheat Time, excuse me.
No worries. Cheat Time, my boyfriend, so I get really stressed about the 12-hour drive from Ontario to Nashville, and I was just feeling really overwhelmed with everything that I had going on with this future tour that I was going on and things, and I was very overwhelmed about doing the drive, and my boyfriend offered on his 2 days off to drive me there and then drive back by himself, really, on the way back. And I just felt like that meant the world to me and that he would do anything for me. And so I took the idea to Nicole and Andrew, and I was like, hey, we need to write a happy song for once. And we just had this idea of cheating time. I think Nicole probably came up with the hook. And I just love the way, like you said, people think that it's going to be a revenge song or about a bad guy. And they always come up to me and they ask if my boyfriend and I broken up. And I'm like, no, listen to the song. It's like a happy song.
I think it's so powerful, that song, because as we get older, and I told you my age before we got on here, right? Almost turning 33. It's scary to me because I think about my parents. When I heard your song, I thought of my parents because I'm like, man, you only have so much time.
Yep.
And time is the most important thing in your life, in my life, in your life. And you can't cheat time.
I love that you took it that way. Okay, keep going.
Well, I know I don't know if that's how you and Nicole wanted me to take it, but that's how I took it. I love
that you took it that way. I love it.
So, when we talk about, the importance of family and friends, what are some times in your life that you wish you could cheat time and go back to?
Camping with my mom, my dad, and my brother. It's funny. We did it all growing up. Every summer, we'd go away almost the whole summer, and we'd go camping to all these different resorts in the U.S., actually, which was always fun. But then I became a teenager and I didn't want to do it anymore. And I wish that we had kept that tradition alive. And now I'm trying to find a time that works for all of us to go back camping because it's just best memories of my life.
What is your favorite camping story?
Okay, we go to a place in the Adirondacks called Old Forage. And they have bears there. And so my dad's obsessed with seeing bears. And
Brown bears or black bears?
Black, I think.
Black? Okay. So not as dangerous as grizzlies.
Yeah. Oh, no. So yeah, for sure black bears.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no. Like the people, no. They were black bears.
Okay, cool.
And so my dad would take us down to the dumpsters at night. We'd put our flashlights in there from the top of the truck, like far enough in distance, and we would never see one. And he was so frustrated. And we had one of those campers that, like, if they wanted to, they break in. Like they have screen beds.
Yep.
And he'd stay up all night and would never see one. And so he took us, my brother and I, to the water park, and my mom had seen one. And she followed it, and it climbed up a tree, and she was taking a video of it. But little did she know that there was cubs in that tree with that bear.
My gosh.
It came down that tree so quick and started running after her, and she has a full video of it. I have to try and find it. And she falls as she's running up the hill, and the bear stops, thank God. But it's like a horror movie.
That is literally a horror movie. I don't know if that deserves an applause, but...
I love it, because she's okay. But no, that's just one of our, just thinking about Old Forage, there was a creek that my brother and I would be so imaginative and just having the best time together. All the bears stories and the ghost stories that my parents would tell us and things like that.
I don't know if everyone thinks like this, but I think everyone who doesn't sing wish they could sing so they could be that cool guy, maybe at a campfire, maybe outside in the beach, playing guitars to a bunch of ladies or people, right? Yeah. So you could actually do that. What's it like?
You know what? It's interesting because I never used to be able to play covers growing up. I would only play like the original songs that I had written. But being here, working and playing on Broadway, I can now almost play like any cover song needed. And so I have had a few times around the campfire, my cousins or my friends, and they'll be like, hey, can you play this? And I just love actually just being the guitar player, not singing, and just letting them do it because it's fun. I do it for a living, so it's fun for me, but to actually see them be so excited to sing along and have that moment for themselves is the fun part.
That was a great transition because I wanted to talk about Broadway.
Yep.
And you got to experience something that is actually your story is very different from a lot of musicians that play Broadway, because when they go back home, they may be going to like a normal, California home or something like that, where they're not on tour during the summer doing festivals in Canada, which is crazy. But what's it like for someone that gets to live both, right? You can play a Broadway show and kind of do those covers, but then immediately you can go and play your own music and open up for people outside. What's that like?
It's fun to do both. And it is the fun part about Nashville is that there's people from all around the world here. So you get to meet so many new people and you always have new requests. So it's almost like you're playing a new song or two every day that you're playing on Broadway. The energy in those rooms are also super, super fun. And so very different from Canada, but also the grind of working down there. I've learned so much from working on Broadway. The first gig I ever played there, I think I had like 30 songs I could play. But when you're playing down on Broadway, you're playing for like 4 hours. So you have to have a lot more music.
And stamina in your voice.
Yes. And I never used to be able to sing for more than like an hour. So that first few gigs, that first week was really, really tough. But then I grew the stamina. And I also learned how to work with any type of crowd. You have kids in the crowd. You have people not listening in the crowd. You have older people in the crowd. You learn how to engage with all of them and like bring the attention back to stage.
Is there a shift that you would not play on Broadway?
Yeah, I don't play from 10 p.m. on.
Okay, so why? Is it because of the crowd? Is it because of, why would you not play that time frame?
I just find that the people are there obviously to have a really good time, and I am more of like singer-songwriter, and they just want like the party rock and music, and that's just not me. And then also I don't love the walking back from the bar into the parking garage that late at night by myself. So those are my two reasons.
100%. I'm also curious about this because you talked about those 4-hour sets. How do you like to structure your sets when you're doing covers? Do you like to start off very slow and build your way, or walk me through it a little bit?
Yeah, I usually leave my upbeat stuff to the end of the gig because that's usually when people are starting to get a little bit rowdy and that's what they want to hear. But if I'm doing a morning gig or an early afternoon gig, I am starting with my favorite Deanna Carter's, the songs that are really easy on the voice to warm it up a little bit more. And then every once in a while you get like someone at 9 a.m. or 10, I guess 10 a.m. is the earliest we start, and they'll be like 10 a.m. before he cheats. And you're starting off with like a real banger.
So I'm guessing, you like to play, I would assume, that kind of late morning, early afternoon shift, or do you like morning shifts?
I love a good 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I feel like my type of crowd is in the bar or in the dining room that I'm in. The people, usually the older people or the people with kids that are excited to listen to the music. That's my type. But I also enjoy the 2 to 6 p.m. because you do have the rowdy young kids in there who are just living it up, and you feed off that energy.
I was watching one of your videos. Actually, it was the Whiskey Jam. Shout out to you playing Whiskey Jam.
I did
debut.
it.
Shout out to Ward out there. He just had his 1,000th
last
Whiskey
night.
Jam. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Shout out to Ward. But I'm so curious about this. With your Whiskey Jam set, that is a later set. That is a crowd of a bunch of me's that are about my same age. We'd like to have a good time. What was that set like? I wish I was there for that.
It was good. It was really fun. And you know what? Those people who are coming to that bar for that event are there to listen to your original music. So it's a little bit different than Broadway where people are there for covers. And so we had our set and I had a full band with me, and it was just a really fun night. And you know what? Playing in Canada all summer was fun to play for a U.S. Crowd. It was really cool.
When you think about places like Whiskey Jam, the Listening Room, the Bluebird Cafe, what are some of the uniqueness of it, but also similar things about all those different types of venues?
Well, I will just say that the Listening Room has my heart. I love that stage. It was the first stage I ever played in Nashville, and still every time I get asked to play, I get so excited. I just think that people here are so excited. I mean, the tourists are so excited for us, and they think that we're all going to be the next big thing. So it's always fun to see their excitement. And when you perform at the Listening Room or Whiskey Jam or Bluebird, you're only performing your own music, which is the best part of those venues.
I was talking to this about to someone the other day. I think it was Darian, actually, how musicians, when you go into Broadway and you're playing covers, with the name of the Broadway bar being a musician, you would assume that they'd want you to play your own music, which is not the case at all.
Nope.
They want you to play towards the crowd.
Yes.
So, what are your, top 3 favorite songs to play towards the crowd?
I love Strawberry Wine by Deanna Carter.
100%.
Love that one. And usually people actually gets people really singing, which is funny. And then, it's actually been a few months since I performed on Broadway, so now I'm struggling to think of songs that aren't mine.
Because you've been killing it on the circuit, by the way.
Okay, and then I would say a song that really gets people fired up is Before He Cheats. So that one is always fun to sing. And then Fishing in the Dark. Why not?
Fishing in the Dark. All right, now what's a no-go? One no-go. You will not sing
Independence Day.
Really? You too?
Yeah. Why? Who else said it?
I think it was Darian.
I just tell people I'm Canadian and I don't know it, but I do know it.
That's actually a great example of that.
Thanks.
Yeah, Independence Day really does get people kind of nervous to sing. I heard it for the first time when Darian was talking about it. I know that's crazy, and that I should be shunned for that.
You never had heard of it?
I never heard it until I heard her talk about it, and then I saw why it's intense to play.
Oh, it's wild. And I have a girlfriend, Rachel, who sings it all the time, and I don't know how she does it.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Now, what is a little insane, though, is what might be coming up in the near future. Now, we can't talk too much about it, but I'm just excited to know what's coming up for you in 2025. That's usually I leave that to the end, but it's so exciting. I'm just curious, what can some people look forward to for your music and just things going on?
I have one of my absolute favorite songs I've ever written coming out. It is called Lie. I'll tell you that.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. And I wrote it with Emily Shackleton, who is a major, major, major songwriter here in Nashville, and Jen Bostic. So 2 of my favorite songwriters ever in one room with me. And we wrote a very, very sad song. I will say it's sad. And it's called Lie. One of my favorites. So that one is coming out in the new year at some point. After that, following it up, I'm going to be releasing an EP, which I'm super excited
yes.
about. I can't say what it's named or how many songs or anything, but there will be an EP coming out. And then I am also going on tour. I'm opening for someone, but I also can't say that.
Well, that's the cool thing about it. Nashville is you never know at what point someone's going to blow up. Mm-hmm. But it takes that hard work that I saw you put in this year. And I know that your fans have seen you put in this year. And that's what makes people excited to bring you on stage and to do EPs. But talking about that, an upcoming project, right? How hard was it to pick the music? Or if you're still picking the music, are you still picking the music for it?
Yeah.
What's it like going through that process?
Well, it's interesting. I've released a lot of singles in the last few years, so I'm going to be kind of compiling those onto an album and then having a few songs that are not going to be singles, but are deeper cuts, but I think they're really good and strong songs, like good foundation for it. Mm-hmm. I've only ever released one EP, which was in the past, and it was kind of just, I was like, I wrote this song and I wrote this song. I just kind of grabbed whatever I could and put it on an EP because I wanted to have that physical CD to give people. Mm-hmm. And this time it just feels like my story. I'm taking all of the songs from all the heartbreak that I've felt in the past years and all the new love. So it will be like a good mix of sad and happy.
When was your last EP?
2016. Wow. No. 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, shoot.
It was COVID.
4 years is a long time to not put out one singular project.
Yes.
So the amount of stuff that you must have in that hard drive or just ready to pour your soul into. When are you starting to record at the end of this year or the top of next year?
We're done recording and now it's just selecting which songs are going to be on.
Dude. Oh, I want to ask so many questions that she's not letting me ask, but it's all right. And it's funny because since you're independent, I don't have like a PR person right next to me saying, no. So, but I think it's so cool. So you have the music ready to go. What was the recording process like?
I'm working with Kate Malone, who I love. She's amazing. She did Bad Boy with me. She did Cheat Time, Set in Stone, and she's just awesome to take my vision of what I want for the song and bring it to life, which has been amazing. All of these songs, I just feel like they flow together, which is what I wanted. I wanted everyone to listen to this EP and it just to flow and not to sound like, oh, this song doesn't feel like it fits on here. And I think she helped me with that so much. It's
absolutely incredible because when I don't know if you guys know this, but when an artist does put out an EP, it is literally so much time, so much effort, so much money to do all that they put out there for your consumption for free on Spotify. And it's a big accomplishment. So shout out to you for finishing it and hopefully having it out the top of next year.
Yes,
so
it's gonna happen.
Well, good. Now, okay, before we gotta take one more break and come back with crowd noise, where I got 3 questions, and I think I got one on my phone right now that someone just submitted to me for you to answer. You ready to do crowd noise?
I am ready.
All right, let's do it.
Hey Alexa, who is your favorite Canadian musician?
Tough question. Okay, I would say... Okay, I feel like I'm going to miss out on one. I have to think about this for a second.
Okay, take your time.
Because my mind goes to Shania Twain, just because it's like everyone knows Shania. I also love Celine Dion. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it is probably Shania.
Shania, 100%?
Yeah, I love Shania.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone loves Shania.
It's just I've already mentioned her today, so I was like, am I missing someone? And I for sure am, but...
Well, Celine. We cannot go and not talk about Celine Dion.
Yes. Have you watched her documentary?
No. Is it good?
Very good.
Yeah?
Very insightful to the crazy life she's lived, which is very interesting because us as musicians, we traveled all these places and people are like, wow, this is amazing that you're traveling all around the world. But she says that we travel around the world, but we don't see any of it.
Yeah.
Because we're performing, going to bed, traveling type thing, right? I haven't got to that point yet, but I just thought that was very interesting. You should watch it. It's good.
You know, I feel like the bigger you get, right, the more shows you do. I think Jelly Roll is a good example of this right now.
It's playing Bridgestone tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's awesome.
But the bigger you get, the more that person starts to feel like they're in a cocoon and they're kind of like trapped into hotel rooms and they can never leave because if they leave, people are going to know where they're at. And I can only imagine how fun it must be to the ride to get to a Celine Dion level. But then when you're there forever.
I would actually say, so Celine's so different, and anyone in pop music, it's like the paparazzi, and your fans are storming you everywhere. But in country music and in Nashville, I actually feel like that doesn't happen at all, which I love. Like you see Carrie Underwood posting things of her just being out and at a grocery store or things like that, and there's not people swarming her, and I just think that's so amazing.
Well, you know, as time goes on, you've seen Nashville change in your short amount of time being here. You know, now that Post Malone has been doing such an amazing job here in Nashville, I think LA's starting. I will not be surprised if next year there is paparazzi.
I hope not.
I hope not too. But
just for them, I mean, I've never had that experience, obviously, but just for everyone loves being able to walk around here.
Does it get you kind of nervous, kind of going through what I just said right now, that it's really fun on your way up to the top? Mm-hmm. But are you ever noticed when you hit the top floor, you can never really, I mean, unless you do something dumb, but you can never really go down. You'll always be viewed like that to the public as top echelon person.
No, I'm excited for that.
Yeah?
That's all I've ever worked for, so no, I'm excited. There's downsides to everything, but I'm excited for the downsides.
What has been, what's been a pinch me moment, before I play these other questions here, what's been a pinch me moment that you've had where you realize that, oh snap, I'm an artist and people love my music?
Oh, gosh.
Could have been this year. It could have been while you were doing all the touring cycle in Canada this year.
I would say, so I did a competition with Top of the Country and SiriusXM at the beginning of the year, and just the amount of people I had reach out because they had heard my music on SiriusXM, and just seeing, I posted little videos of me hearing myself on SiriusXM for the first time. So cool. I would say that was like a pinch me moment. Hearing myself on SiriusXM was so awesome. And then just all of those shows, looking out to the crowd and seeing them singing my words and coming up and crying after, or just giving me a big hug and saying I made their night. That all makes me want to keep doing it.
Well, you have had some serious publications this year too. I saw wasn't one with CMT this year?
Yep.
Dude, come on now. I think I have a question that's surrounding that. Let's see what this question is.
Interviews you've done, which one has been the most awkward?
Out of all the interviews you've done, what's been one of the most awkward interviews? You don't have to say any names. Just tell me a situation.
I don't know if I've had any that are really awkward. I did have a radio person at one of my shows, and they had no idea who I was.
Really?
Yeah. They were interviewing everyone at the festival, and they kept calling me the wrong name. They didn't know any of my music, and so yeah, that was a little bit awkward.
What's that like to have to kind of like, it's obviously an outlet, so you want to do your best to make sure no matter what's happening that, you give your best foot forward. But what's that like to kind of, sit there and like hear someone not be familiar with your work?
I actually thought it was really nice because it humbled me. I had the hair and the makeup done that day. I had met a bunch of people everywhere I was walking. People were stopping me saying like, hey, we know your music, or hey, Alexa Goldie, and asking for photos and things. So I think I was feeling like really hot. And then, yeah, just grounded me right away, which was great.
Well, it's sad, but it happens. What's one of your favorite interviews you've done in 2024?
This one.
No, stop.
I'm not kidding.
Just because I've done research.
You've done your research. You keep telling me I'm slouching because I'm so comfortable here.
I was just about to tell you to pick it up. But no, seriously, outside of me, I appreciate that so much. But outside of me, what's been an interview you've done or a magazine or something like that? I saw some write-ups of you just recently as of September, some recent write-ups that people have done for you.
I did one with Women of Country, which is a big thing here, and something a lot of women in country aspire to be a part of. So that, Sea Heads, which is in the UK. So that was really cool to go like outside of Canada and the US. And then...
Has Holler reached out yet?
No.
Okay. That's something that we need to make happen. Holler's huge.
Yeah, well, no, I know of Holler, but I don't. They have not reached out.
Well, I can see that it would be something that they'd be very interested in doing for sure.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can put that into the list for next year. Cheat Time just released the music video.
Yes.
And that was what, maybe like a week ago?
Yeah, 2.
Probably. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. What was it like to film Cheat Time?
It was fun. Very last minute decision. I had just driven down to Nashville and decided I wanted to do a music video. And we were looking for a day that it was not raining, and we found a field and we just made it happen. And it was really fun, actually. I decided I didn't want to be the actress for that one. I wanted...
Yeah, that's right.
My song Set in Stone, I think it's probably today hitting 100,000 views on YouTube. 100,000, yeah. Which is...
You said it so casually.
Well, because I'm like, am I saying the right number? Which is an awesome milestone for me. It's happening completely naturally, and people just keep viewing it, which is awesome. So many comments and likes on it, and people saying they've seen it. So,
I was looking at the visuals, right? Because I think you also had a visual out for Bad Boy too.
Yes.
And I think the visuals are so next level. It is so well done, well produced, and I know the views are trickling in. And I know they're going to get bigger because the views or the quality of the music video looks so beautiful. Who was the ones that were shooting these music videos?
We had Sam Ulrich do Cheat Time, and it was just an awesome, fun video. So very last minute. Thanks, Sam.
Shot beautifully.
Yes. And then my Bad Boy, Set in Stone, and then some other stuff that we're working on for next year was Andrew Scholes, and he's just absolutely amazing. He's doing more so not music stuff anymore, but he is so creative, and I'm just excited to put out more stuff with him.
What are your go-tos before you get on in front of a camera?
Yeah.
Or before you get on stage? What are some of your go-tos that you got to do? I feel like your outfits are always great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, got to make sure you have a bomb outfit because, I feel like if you're feeling confident on stage, you look confident, you sound confident, all those things. I have to do vocal warm-ups before I go on. That's one thing on my to-do list. Making sure I had a lot of outfit malfunctions this summer. So
talk about that. What are some outfit malfunctions for a musician?
Okay, so I had these pants that I had to do up, and you had to do them like the slit was in the middle, and you had to do them up really, really tight. And I had taken this big breath before going for a big note on stage and felt like a pop. Thank God that it was actually in the back. The back part of the pants had split, not the front. And no one saw. It was like my last song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, thank God.
I mean, I could only imagine. There's been all kinds of crazy things that happen on stage that people do not know of.
Yes.
How do you not let that affect your performance?
I think I was lucky. I mean, I'm lucky that I haven't had it happen many times, and that was my last song. So I think it would have bothered me a little bit.
What about in-ears? Have you ever had it where you didn't get any feedback?
Oh, yeah. or like no sound in your ears. So,
Really?
yeah.
What's that? For the people that do not know what we're talking about, explain that situation when you don't have any audio in your in-ears.
Yeah, so sometimes they don't have speakers like monitors on stage, so we hear ourselves through our ears, and there will sometimes just malfunctions. Your pack on the back will die, and that happened at one of my shows. I have no idea what happened, but I was going out on stage being like, "Hey, how are you, Ottawa?" and couldn't hear anything, and so I was like, gave the devil eye to someone. I was like, "Please help." And then, you know what? You just have to make it go. So I take both my ears out, and I'm like, if I'm pitchy, I'm pitchy. And you just go with it until they give you the thumbs up that you can put your ears back in.
Wait, so is that what that means? When you see musicians take off their thing like this, that just means that they're... It sounds weird right now, to be honest. I've never done that before.
It's a few different reasons. I mean, I always take one out because I like to hear the audience. That's really bad for your ears. You shouldn't do it. But I always like hearing the audience sing along and things like that. And so I always take one out. But if you're taking both out or adjusting them all the time, it's because you can't hear yourself.
You know, as we look back into 2024, and 2025 is literally right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there anything that you wish you can go back and do differently in 2024?
No, absolutely not. I had an amazing year, and my team and I, so my band and I, worked really, really hard, and we put on really fun shows this year, and I wrote some really fun songs, and I wouldn't change anything about 2024.
I love that. I mean, what would be, speaking of outfits, what's been your favorite outfit that you put on 2024?
Okay. Ottawa Blues Fest, I had Tailored Collections had made me a custom outfit. That's probably my favorite. And then also Boots and Hearts, she made me another custom outfit. She just made it mold to my body perfectly, which usually I have issues trying to find outfits that fit me really, really well for on stage and making sure they're not too skimpy or they're not too long or, you know, things like that.
For a musician, what is considered scampy?
I think it depends on
for
who.
you.
I was
For
going to
you.
say it
For you.
changes for everyone.
So like a good example, no disrespect to Dasha, but when I think of Dasha and I think of her like little booty shorts,
Yeah, she rocks them.
she rocks them. She's got the legs for it for
Yeah.
sure. But like when I see your outfits, I think of Carrie Underwood.
Oh, thank you, because that's my inspiration.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh
Dude,
yeah.
well, I don't know if you're doing leg exercise or something, dude, but you look great in your outfits.
Oh, thank you, thank
100%.
you. Yeah, you know, just a few squats before you go on stage really helps.
Do you really?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Oh yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, it really helps.
Shut up. I wonder if Carrie Underwood does that.
I think she's just always rocking. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
she looks amazing. But yes, I see the similarity in outfits between you and Carrie Underwood, and
Yeah,
that's the
she's
first
my
thing I
inspo.
think of. Ah,
Yep,
dude,
she's
I
my
didn't know I
inspo.
got that right.
Yeah, when I'm working with a stylist or trying to figure out my outfits myself, I go straight to her page.
That makes me feel good that I got
job.
that right. All right, so now going to my last two questions, and you guys know that I love to ask this question every time. My question has to do with imposter syndrome. Okay. You know, when you have situations where people don't believe in your vision, people don't may not take you seriously if you say you're going to do something, right? Or putting things into fruition. How do you not let that imposter syndrome and that self-doubt affect you when you're doing your thing?
I think you have to surround yourself with people that are believers in you. I think that it is so easy to fall into the people online, the people in real life who are going to say no and say that you can't do things. But if you surround yourself with people who do believe in you, it's very easy to ignore that noise.
100%. And, you know, what are some tips that you can give a fellow musician who's interested in being in this industry? What are some things that they can do today to help them progress in their musical journey?
Hustle every day. Look to see what you want to do. If you want to perform at a certain venue, email them. If they don't answer, email them again. And just know that you don't have to have a manager. You don't have to have a label behind you. If you're independent, working completely by yourself, it's possible.
And you work extremely hard, because I think that's how we got connected, is at the top of the show. You contacted me, and I should be now the one contacting you by all the crazy things that you've done this year. So 2025, my last question.
Yes.
Before, I'm excited to see what your walk the line will be here in the studio. I'm excited to see what song it's going to be. But speaking of which, 2025, what are some things you're looking forward to, top of 2025, and maybe some goals you got for the end of 2025?
Oh, by the end of 2025. Okay. So for the beginning, like I said, I have some new music, a physical EP coming out, some acting stuff that I'm doing, which I'm excited about. That's literally all I'll say about that. And the tour. My goals for the end of next year is to have had as amazing or more and feel so fulfilled as I did this year. I'm hoping to play lots of festivals, and I would love to play CMA Fest.
Have we made that happen yet? Have you
No.
contacted anyone about that yet?
Many times, but I have not got in yet.
Well, that doesn't change the fact that it could happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just my goal for this year.
Dude, that'd be sick. I would be the first person to show up on whatever stage that is in CMA Fest. I hope that happens for you next year, because I don't think you're very far from that.
Fingers crossed.
Well, here we go. So the way that we're going to set up your day in the life, aka, your performance here, is you look straight into that camera right there. You say your name and you say, "This is how I walk the line," and then we'll transition to your song. You ready to rock and roll?
Ready.
All right. And after the applause here, and
This is Alexa Goldie, and this is how I walk the line.
Found a new bar for every Friday night. Got some new friends living on the west side. I stopped wearing that t-shirt we got. We were still new and I was so in love. But you were long gone till your name popped up. Said you were so wrong, but I could tell you were drunk. And if I'm being honest, I've already moved on. You've already put me through enough. I wanted you bad, boy. Went and gave you everything I had, boy. I let it go too far. I let you break my heart. Should've listened to my mama from the start. 'Cause now I'm looking back, boy. Little late to say you made the wrong choice. You went and walked away. You could've stayed and you would've changed. If you wanted me that bad, boy. Took me so long to get rid of your stuff, to change your sad song, throw away your toothbrush. Yeah, I know what I said. This is now, that was then. Bet you never do that again. I wanted you bad, boy. Went and gave you everything I had, boy. I let it go too far. I let you break my heart. Should've listened to my mama from the start. 'Cause now I'm looking back, boy. Little late to say you made the wrong choice. You went and walked away. You could've stayed and it would've changed. If you wanted me that bad, boy. Bad boy. Give it a good shot and a good cry. But just know when I said goodbye, I wanted you bad, boy. Went and gave you everything I had, boy. I let it go too far, let you break my heart. Should've listened to my mama from the start. Now I'm looking back, boy. Little late to say you made the wrong choice. You went and walked away. You could've stayed and you would've changed. If you wanted me that bad, boy. Bad boy. Bad boy. If you wanted me